Well, it's been 24 hours since Leeds United lost 1-0 against Burnley at Ellen Road, but we're now going to talk about 5 things we've learned from that game. Let's get into it. All right, guys, what's going on? My name is Ollie Ward. Welcome back to the Ollie Ward channel. Hope you're all having a good Sunday. You've rested, you're recovered from yesterday's disappointing result at Ellen Road against Burnley. This is sort of a new thing I'm starting. If you guys like it, then be sure to show your support in the comments down below. Also, smash that like button. If we can hit 200 to 300 likes on this, I'll continue doing this. It's kind of like a 5 things we've learned. A little chat after the game, so we've calmed down. It's not an immediate match reaction and just more content for you guys. So yeah, get down there, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and get your comments in if you like the concept and all your thoughts on yesterday's game. So obviously Leeds United lose against Burnley. Disappointing result. Very, very disappointing. Questions, fingers have been pointed at Daniel Farke, which is expected this year. There's a lot of pressure. You know, last year you give him the benefit of the doubt. It's a new team. It's a new league. We had a difficult August. This time around, no real excuses. We know the German wanted a number 10, but still no excuses. We've got a good enough team to go against any team in this division and get results. So we're going to start off with our first thing that we've learned today, and we're going to talk about the low block. How easy it is for teams to play against us. All they have to do is put a low block defensive line and they can get a result against us. That's how simple it was and is, and it still is. And why hasn't Daniel Farke sorted anything about that? We need to improve on that because it seems like we have one game style and we can't sort of adapt to any sort of ones that come to us. If someone comes to Ellen Road and sets a low block, Leeds United are going to struggle. You know, last season, and even similar to Portsmouth like to play. They played Leeds. It was 3-3. Leeds could have won 4-5-3. Portsmouth could have had maybe a few more. But it's an open game. Leeds United, 9 times out of 10, will win them games. But if he comes with a low block, like Burnley did, hit us on the counter-attack, set up your low block defensively, Leeds United and Daniel Farke don't know how to break it down. And we struggled with this last year. Why hasn't that been worked on? You've got to question Farke at that point. I'm not sitting here saying Daniel Farke out. I hate him. But why hasn't the tactics improved? Why haven't the tactics we saw last year changed? You know, we saw that's how we struggled last year. Why is it still so easy this year for teams to do the same thing? And I know Burnley are a brilliant team. They're going to be one of the best teams in the league this year. But if you look, we should be beating Burnley. We should be beating every team in this league on paper, but you don't win games on paper. Number 2 of the things we have learned versus Burnley is clinicalness. Is that even a word? Being clinical in front of goal. It's worrying how many chances this team are missing. You know, and it doesn't just land to Mateo Joseph. The boy's got a lot of pressure. He needs to score goals. He is the number 9 in this Leeds United side, where famously over the last few years, we've struggled to have a number 9 to stay fit, to score goals. Obviously, Bamford done it when he came back in January to April last year, but the bloke's made of chocolate. You know, we're not going to get him week in, week out. Joel Perreault, when he comes on, doesn't do enough. He's the most natural goal scorer in the club, but he's so lazy. He's slow. He's like he's got a caravan on his back. He's that slow, and it's difficult. And Leeds United, you saw it in the opening 30 seconds yesterday. Mateo Joseph threw on goal, and I'm not going to, you know, criticize him too much. He's a youngster. There's a lot of pressure on him. And like I've been saying the last few weeks, we need to stop putting so much pressure on him. We don't want to give him the Joffy treatment because look at Joffy now. I know they're different sort of players, but clinicalness, Daniel Farke will be looking at, you know, I know there's some tactics that he needs to work on, like we spoke about the low block, but when you're one-on-one with the goalkeeper, you need to be putting the ball in the back of the net. You look at Brendan Aronson against Portsmouth in the 98th minute. That needs to be in the back of the net. We had a couple of chances against West Brom, 0-0. They need to be in the back of the net. And it's clinicalness with this team. There's got to be goals from all places, set pieces. I saw something like it's over like nearly 100 corners. Maybe that might be a bit too much. Or from February, I think it was, the last time we scored from a set piece. February. We're now in September. And that's 2 seasons since. So either the set piece coach has to be sacked or something has to change because they're clinical moments. Sometimes I think when Leeds get a corner, we run down the line, Solomon or Gnonto or Ramazani, whoever, Dan James is doing something on the wing. You win a corner. Sometimes I think you might as well just pass it back to their goalkeeper. That's how much I just don't think we're effective. And that's when it's got to come with clinicalness. What Burnley done yesterday, they were clinical. What they done, they set up defensively, they hit on the counter-attack, clinical. They only had a few chances, but they put them away. And teams have done that against Leeds this season. And I know I'm not chucking everything out I'm not chucking everything out the window. Leeds United are still sitting ninth in the league. That's our first loss. But we have won 4 games in 14 under Daniel Farke, 3-12. It's not looking good for Daniel Farke. And yeah, we need to be more clinical. And like I said, there's only so much he can do, because if you look at that Mateo Joseph, if you look at the Brendan Aronson chances, if you look at the chances where we're just hitting it against the goalkeeper, like Trafford had a very good game yesterday, but he shouldn't be looking that good. We're making him look a lot better than he is. Number 3, the things we've learned versus Burnley. I'm talking turnovers. We spoke about the low block, how easy it is for Leeds United to get countered. We play so high up the pitch, and how easy it was yesterday for us to get countered against a good Burnley side. I'm not talking against every team, because you can benefit playing like that against lower end teams. When you come up against the bigger teams, the Burnleys, maybe the Lutons, the Sunderlands, the Sheffield Uniteds this season, you can't play the way we play and leave 1 or 2 men back, when they've got 3 or 4 running at you. And yesterday, I felt a bit harsh to criticise Jayden Bogle, because he was the only one back. Pascal was running next to him and he was going, don't go yet, don't go yet. Right now, go. Couldn't close him down in time, and they go through and score. And it was so simple. And it is worrying that how easy the turnovers, because Leeds United used to do it to other teams. We know how deadly it can be on the counter-attack, and Leeds United do like to play counter-attacking football. But sometimes when Joe Rodon and Pascal are literally coming into their edge of the box, they're getting so far up the pitch, one long ball, and we're out of it. And it's a bit worrying. So turnovers need to change. The low block needs to be adapted, and we need to be more clinical in front of goal. Number 4, I'm not going to dig out any players in particular, but I thought yesterday Jayden Bogle was one that just still is looking. I still think the jury's out with Jayden Bogle for me. I don't know if I'm in the minority or the majority here, but still needs to develop. I think Firpo's having a very good season. He's had a very good 2024. I think Bogle still needs to get into it. I still think there's question marks over him. And Ampadu as well yesterday. I thought he's looking a bit lost in the midfield, which is a bit worrying, because that's his natural position. And I liked him playing at centre-back last year. It was good. I mean, it shouldn't have been the case, but that was the case last year, and he was brilliant. And he's still fallen into false habits and old habits of falling into that back 4, picking up the ball. You're leaving Grove in the middle of the park by himself, and he's not the quickest at all. So again, in turnovers, it's difficult. So I'm not picking them 2 out. I'm just saying them 2 caught my eye, that I just didn't think they were very good yesterday. Ampadu or Bogle. I don't think anyone was necessarily brilliant. I don't think Gnonto had a good game either. I think probably the best player on the pitch was someone like maybe Solomon or maybe Gruev. I don't even know at this point. And then I think we've got to make some changes against Cardiff. I think he's just got to be quite strong of it. And I know it's a thing where Daniel Farke won't be panicking, and we shouldn't be panicking so much. And I know there's been an absolute meltdown, including myself. I haven't gone crazy Daniel Farke out, but I've questioned what is going on. We need to be beating these big teams, how easy it is. We've watched the same game yesterday about 50 times where we just don't win games like that. Low block, we're setting up for a loss. That happens a lot. But yeah, I think Ramazani could get a start. Maybe Tanaka come in the middle of the park, even Rothwell when he came on. Someone said Rothwell is the most David Norris player since Luke Murphy, which I think is a tad bit harsh, but I kind of get what they mean. He reminds me a lot of Adam Forshaw. And number 5 of the things we have learned yesterday, Dan James. Dan James is missing. Maturing is realizing that Dan James is effective, and he gives you a different sort of outlook and outlet. And we become quite one-dimensional when you've got Willy Gnonto and Solomon Ramazani. They're all brilliant players, and I wouldn't necessarily drop them. But I just think Dan James, maybe yesterday would have been struggle against a low block. I understand. But he offers you so much. The pace in this league is a joke. He's the quickest player in most leagues. But I just think Dan James, with his goals, his contribution, even his set pieces sometimes, I know we haven't scored a lot from set pieces, but his pace, I just think a lot of his game is missing. When Leeds United don't have him, I think Leeds United do struggle. And I think over the last sort of few months, he's been a key asset in Leeds' game. I watched a few highlights from last year's performance because last night I didn't want to watch the Burnley highlights. So I went back and watched us beating Hull. I can't even remember the games that I was watching. But either way, Dan James was key and crucial in a lot of these games. Pops up with goals. He's quick. And I'd like to see Dan James back when he's fit and recovered. I want to see him back in and around that first team because he deserves it. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a new sort of thing that I'm trying. I don't know if it's going to work. If you guys do enjoy it, be sure to smash 200 likes or 300 likes, depending on how much you liked it. So the 5 things we learned is low block needs to be sorted. Clinical, we need to score goals. Turnovers, too easy. We're getting hit on the counter way too easy. A few players maybe need changing, maybe need some changes for Cardiff. And Dan James is underrated and missing when we don't use him. Guys, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and get your comments in, your thoughts on the series and your thoughts on yesterday's game. And I'll catch you in the next video. Cheery. Oh.